Hi, everyone, and welcome to our podcast. My name is Dan Kirkbeck, and I'm your host. As you might know, Xplora's mission is to onboard kids more safely to the digital world. Also, our vision is to enable kids to change the world by being more active. Today is a special episode because we are very proud to have started a journey with United Cities. They are working very dedicated to help reach some of United Nations' important sustainability goals. In particular, this upcoming project called Net Zero. And today, and live from Lebanon, we have Christian Mjön from United Cities and our own Alexander Reidan from Xplora. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you. Delighted to be here.
Thank you.
Super. United Nations has articulated some very ambitious goals toward 2030. Can you give us a quick overview on these goals and what that means?
Yes, this is indeed the case, Sten. In 2015, close to 200 countries agreed on what I would say is a new operating system for developing the world in a more sustainable, equitable, and resilient way. So these 17 goals and 169 targets basically create a roadmap between where we are today and 2030, hence the word 2030 agenda. So it's both a set of goals, it's a set of targets, but it's also a way to account for the creation of shared values. And these shared values fall into three categories. It's planet, it's people, and prosperity. So three Ps.
Can you tell us a little about the number of cities and the importance of energy as part of those 2030 goals?
Yes, so you have specific goals and targets that tap into, for instance, energy as a enabler for sustainable development. We know specifically where we're sitting right now that people in Lebanon have access to electricity, maybe 2 hours per day. They cannot charge their phone. They cannot have a fridge with cold food. They cannot shower in the morning. Education is very hard because they lack basic infrastructure. They cannot water their fields because they cannot power water pumps. So within the 2030 agenda, you have Sustainable Development Goal number 7, which is about access to clean, affordable, and renewable energy. And what we're doing here in partnership with Xplora is trying to deliver solutions, services, and work with local partners to make something out of this, not just to be nice, but also because it's a huge business opportunity. Once you solve energy, you can do so much more in terms of education, developing local businesses, and basically have a smarter and more sustainable city. And the UN has identified under the 2030 agenda that there are close to 10,000 cities globally that need to make some kind of transition. Energy, of course, is part of this for a big number of cities, but then you can add to this all the other elements. It's about transportation, it's about communication, it's about air, waste. So when you start looking at these 10,000 cities, whether it's from an energy lens or any other lens, they basically constitute a massive marketplace. And the expected finance gap now between today and 2030 is estimated. It used to be $2.5 trillion a year. It grew by 700 million under COVID. So we're talking about investments in the size of close to $3 trillion annually before 2030. So on the one side, we have a massive challenge. On the other side, we have a massive market.
Christian, you represent United Cities and are now in Lebanon. Please introduce us to United Cities and the Net Zero project and why you are in Lebanon just now.
Okay, so in the simplest of terms, net zero is, like I said, a marketplace. You cannot go into that marketplace without having a method, without having an access, without having something to offer. United Cities was created as a not-for-profit organization back in 2019. We're headquartered in Vienna, Austria. We have now offices in 3 countries. We are working in more than 20 countries globally, and we're working in a few hundred cities across the planet at this point. The purpose of United Cities is to bring together create a unity node, to kind of put a metaphor on this, where we connect a few things. First of all, what we already discussed, the Sustainable Development Goals as a shared operating system and a backdrop for everything we do. Then, of course, there's a separate SDG, or a Sustainable Development Goal, for partnerships. So we bring in solutions, knowledge, and funding from different partners. Of course, Xplora is an important example of this. For these solutions providers and knowledge communities to be relevant in the local context, so across those 10 cities, we need a governance model. So we are also bringing to the table advanced governance models and advanced simulation technologies, not least, to leverage data to support decision-making. And this, of course, is what enables us to go into those 10,000 cities in a structured way. So not anything goes. We're still framed by the SDGs. We're interested in the local opportunities, for instance, for companies like Xplora, but this is then framed by an operating system. So bringing together this massive pipeline of cities, the solutions and technologies and knowledge out there, but bridging this through the use of technology to accelerate basically decision-making process. And we have a kind of sophisticated word for this. It's kind of a multi-helix approach, because no one can tackle this on their own, right? Not as a business, not as a government, not as an academic institutions. So the governance of this process of decision-making and implementation involves a large number of stakeholders. And this is what we're managing against this backdrop, which is the 2030 Agenda and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals.
So in simple terms, the goal by 2030 and the potential 10,000 cities is really, it's starting now. It's a kickoff starting now in Lebanon with the Net Zero project right now.
It is, and we have a very, very pragmatic ambition. We want to make the first municipality in Lebanon net zero energy. So they should be producing more energy, clean energy, renewable energy, affordable energy than they consume by the end of 2022. If we manage this symbolically, it will be hyper important, not just in terms of inspiration, but in terms of a model, a template that can be replicated across the next 1,000.
Fantastic. And Alex, why don't you tell us about your experience in Lebanon over the last couple of days, so the audience can have a better understanding on how you have experienced the journey so far?
Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be a part of the leadership team in the United States, to be viewed as a partner representing Xplora, and feeling like really at home with these people, because we have the huge ambitions and the way we are, treated and met from local governance, local business owners, and organizations that are working for the same overall goals, the sustainability goals, is fantastic. And when we can combine being a technology provider into a system where we can support all these different specialities put together in one package, and we can actually be the ones that are making it real, making the first, as Christian said, the example of the first city that can go net zero from having 2 hours of electricity per day to being fully equipped with electricity and power, and all the ripple effects that energy will provide for that community is fantastic. And I have really learned about this first couple of days, this first trip to Lebanon, is that we are just taking the first step, first hugely important step, but the first step of something that will be global. So as a representative for Xplora, I have to say I'm extremely proud to be a part of this, and I have huge ambition for us as a brand, but also for all the people that we will touch through this work.
Alex, talk us through how the Xplora platform can play a role in this important work that we are now doing.
Absolutely, and this is what almost gives me goosebumps when I'm starting to think about it, because we have all these special people with special skills and special resources, but what we can provide is our social platform, And we will change and adapt our platform for this project to be a tool to bring people involved into the project. Talking about people in the city that we will help, but we will also have a role in terms of education. And our platform is a tool to engage, inspire, involve, practically involve, and also educate people around the globe and teach them about both the sustainability goals and what we're doing, but also about, making changes, making changes in habits, so we can actually make a huge ripple effect outside the core and the aim city that we are working on initially. Because creating a sustainable world is about changing habits, right? Changing behavior. So we will both supply a technical platform to engage and to teach people, but also to make this happen and create a huge ownership and proudness of all the people that are involved. So that's I would say that's where we come in as a technology partner. And I will say to all of you that are following Xplora as well, Xplora is viewed, I have understood right, really taken in, that Xplora is viewed from the United States as a close partner, and they have huge ambitions for us, for our role in this project. And we will be a natural part and a natural supplier for actually bringing the education and the inspiration out to the world through this long-lasting project.
And to Christian, what do you think will be the key important drivers for the success and the drivers for how we can reach those goals toward 2030?
I think if in one word, trust is probably one of the biggest. Being in Lebanon, you know something about bad governance. People do not trust authority. They do not trust politicians. They do not trust the finance communities. So from our perspective, we can bring in the best solar technology. We can bring in funding. But in the end, if you're not working in and with local communities, this will not work. So for us, it's hugely important to work with partners like Xplora, because it's basically a way of de-risking investments long-term in infrastructure, connecting very practical things like the movement of local communities to a process of learning and building awareness, and actively encouraging a sense of obligation to the community by showing, literally through tokenization of individual contributions, how your individual contribution to your community is actually for the first time translated into something that gives you a sense of, I'm not being ripped off, basically. And this combination of social and technological innovation is precisely why we're so eager to be working with Xplora, not just here in Lebanon, in the first municipalities, but next week when we head to Egypt, and the week after when we head to Jordan. So we are really excited about the opportunities for connecting people, passion, purpose to technology and investments that Xplora offers.
Alex, talk us through the first pilot. How will it work and when will we see it?
It's actually a really important date, because we are, I don't know if you should explain this more, Christian, because I think you're the better one to explain this. But just to give you a date, the magical date for our pilot is March 23rd, 2022, and that is the aim launch date for our first campaign here in Lebanon. And I in that case, I also want to add one more thing, and that is, for this to become real, for this to grow, Christian is saying that yes, we have some international funding in a bigger scale, but we also want to attract partners. So if this message really hit home with anyone out there that have businesses and want to support this movement, they want to be a part of this movement, I really urge them to reach out to us in Xplora, and we will communicate and we will explain how this works, because we want to bring in sponsors. We want to bring in supporters that want to support this whole movement, because this is not like a test thing. It's just, yes, we are starting a pilot now, but we are creating a global movement. in this. And we need, engaged, inspired, and thoughtful leaders that wants to be a part of this movement. So I really urge everyone out there that know someone or run a business or have a big heart for sustainability and belief in this kind of movement to reach out and to become a part of our greater sustainable family, because this will actually create the biggest impact and the most important impact, I say, for the globe for the years to come.
Well, this is extremely exciting, and we are so proud to be part of it. It's great when people around the world can come together like this and create such amazing solutions. Until next time, stay safe, stay active, and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Stan. All the best from Beirut.